Now let's turn to Pennsylvania, which is arguably the most pivotal state in the election race, where our senior US correspondent Mike Wagenheim is standing by. Mike, you're in Pennsylvania, one of the most important swing states for the candidates. Now the polls show that Joe Biden is ahead in the race. Now, what are you seeing or hearing from the voters there on the ground?
Well, so far, voting just underway a couple of hours ago. Tough to tell here the early returns and who they're favoring. Philadelphia itself, where we're located, is a Democratic stronghold. There's no doubt whatsoever Philadelphia will go heavily for Joe Biden. The question is the suburbs in this area and the western part of the state, who will those lean to? Can Biden close the gap on Donald Trump in those areas? What might play a huge role today is the Jewish vote. Philadelphia has a large Jewish population. We're here with Brett Goldman. He's the co-founder of Democratic Jewish Outreach Pennsylvania. Brett, thanks for joining us today. Of course, such a big day here for the Jewish community specifically. What was the goal for the Democratic Party to do outreach to the Jewish community to get them to vote the way you need them to vote?
So I think it's a matter of reminding the Jewish community that the Biden campaign is there is listening to our concerns about anti-Semitism and violence in the community, as well as our social justice concerns. That's a big reason why Jews come out to vote for Democrats. The social safety net, women's right to choose, a number of all the issues that come with progressive politics.
Walk me through the ground game here. How did you target your voters in this cycle?
So we've been, Democratic Jewish Outreach Pennsylvania has been operating for over 10 years now, and part of our work is doing targeted ads to the Jewish community, both online and in print. We've been big proponents of advertising in the Jewish press, and that's been for almost the last 15 years now that we've been doing stuff like that. The ground game in Pennsylvania this year is obviously a little bit different, especially given the constraints of the pandemic. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays into the overall turnout numbers, and hopefully a victory for former Vice President Biden.
The Jewish community specifically has really been divided, it seems, by this particular presidential campaign. Judaism itself, and also obviously the state of Israel, it's kind of been made into a little bit of a political football here. How have you been handling that as a political operative?
I laugh because it's been a really long year in that regard, and I think the dynamic with the pandemic has made things that much more complicated. There are a lot of voters that have nothing more to do than sit at home and argue with each other on social media. And so that's just created this air of tension, and everybody's sort of ready to kill each other. And hopefully after this election that will be able to be walked back a little bit. But there are some really fundamental issues that are at stake in this election, and we're going to do everything we can to move that forward.
The election coming, and then Thanksgiving and Christmas after that, so everybody will still have time to yell at each other anyway. Back to you in the studio. Thanks to Brett Goldman here at Democratic Jewish Outreach Pennsylvania.
Okay, Brett Goldman and Mike Wagenheim, thank you both so much for your time.